discuss myriad topic on their talk show. The word myriad means extremely great in number. Good morning everyone and welcome to today's session. So we are here today to discuss SBI prelims paper, SBI main refresher, So SBI main refresher and yeah, I'm still here and we are going to start the session. It's already late, so let's get started. Good morning friends, good morning everyone. Let's start with the session. So we will start with the first question. The first question that we have here is, in the following question, 5 sentences are given which are on the same theme. Decide which sentence is the most preferable with respect to grammar, meaning and usage, suitable for a formal letter or report or any formal writing in English. Okay, so you just have to find out which of these statements are absolutely fine, there is no error in the statement, and grammatically right and can be used as formal writing. Okay, not informal writing, formal writing. Okay, because there is a reason why they mentioned that, because informal writing and formal writing, it differs a lot. So some things can be informal and still be grammatically right, so that's why the mention of it being formal. Let's look at the question. Having missed the train which I usually catch and had to travel on the next. Having missed the train which I usually catch and had to travel on the next. Not formal writing, not definitely, it looks like the sentence is not complete. Okay, so 1 is not the answer. I missed the train which I usually catch and had to travel on the next. Sounds okay to me. I miss the train which I usually catch. So this talks about, this is in simple present tense and it talks about the usual habit. Okay, and had to catch, and that day, since it is an action in the past, had to travel on the next. So this second one is fine. The train which is my usual catch, again usual catch means something else being missed, does not make sense. So I hope I don't have to read all of it. Guys, start answering as well. Alright, moving on to the next question. Now you have to find out, you tell me which one is grammatically right. I did one for you, you have to tell me which one is right over here. Same statement written in different ways. You have to find out which one would be the right way to write it. Our school would have won the match if only we would have concentrated. So it is if condition sentence. Our school had won the match if only we would have concentrated. Our school would have won the match if only we had concentrated. Our school had won the match if only we have concentrated. Our school would win the match if only we had concentrated. So which one of these statement is right? Our school would have won the match if only we had concentrated. Yes, it will be statement number 3. And which if condition is this? Would have won the match if only we had concentrated. Which if condition are we dealing with? Yes, would have, and that is the first clause. First clause takes would have and the second takes only we had, if only we had. Alright, so third one is the correct answer. Alright, moving on to the next question. Since he wasn't rich by any means, he never turned away anyone who helped him. Okay, does not make sense. He wasn't rich by any means, but he never turned away anyone who needed help. Okay, so the statement, what is the statement trying to say? Even though he was not rich, he still helped out people, right? So something that has 2 contradictory statements, okay? Even though or although or any of these contradictory words or keywords, if it is used, transition word, then it would be the right statement. So it will not be since, wrong keyword, wrong transition word. Being not rich by any means, he never turned down. Again, being rich is also not right. He wasn't rich by means, although he never turned down anyone who needed help. Okay, what is the difference between statement number 2 and statement number 4? He wasn't rich by any means, although he never turned down anyone who needed help. Since he lacked needed money, okay, lacked and needed money, wrong structure again. So fifth one is also not the right one. So what is the difference? Which one is most appropriate? Is it the second one or is it the fourth one? Okay, why will it not be second one, turned away? Okay, the phrase is turned down, means reject, right? You turn down offers and so on and so forth. So turn down is the although and but, both are fine. Any of these can be used, but fourth one is most appropriate because of the use of turn down, the phrase turn down. It will be turned away, not turned away, it will be turned down. Okay, next one. The teaching staff had taken the lectures regularly. Okay, solve this one. Which one would be the most appropriate one? So you have to look at everything, guys. You have to look at grammar, you have to look at the structure of the statement and what the statement says, whether it is formal, whether it is informal, all of it, you have to look at it. Alright, the teaching staff had taken the lectures regularly. Had they known that principal would know about it? Does not make sense. The teaching staff must take their lectures regularly when are asked by the principal. Not right. The teaching staff would have taken lectures regularly had they known that the principal would have known about it. The principal, okay, reprimanded his teaching staff for not taking. The principal did not reprimand. This statement means completely different thing. Okay. Many irregularities were found in their lectures by the principal and he could not be disregarded them. My God, fourth and fifth is absolutely wrong. You don't even have to consider it as any, not even grammatically right, or the structure is also not right. It's not even informal writing. So it should be, the order should be, the teacher would have taken had they known. Alright, the teaching staff would have taken lectures regularly had they known that the principal would know about it. So what does this statement basically means? It means if they knew that the principal is going to know about them taking lectures, they would have done it regularly. Okay, so that's what the statement means. So first things first, need to understand what the statement is saying and then see the structure of the statement. Okay, which one makes more sense as well. Alright, moving on to the next one. Since the committee lacked needed power, it could not deliver expected results. Solve this one. The committee was useless because there was no needed power to it. Since the committee did not have needed power, it has not deliver useful results. My God, if I start reading all of it, I think my grammar will go for a toss. Since the committee lacked needed power, it would not have delivered expected results. It's the first one, yes. Why will it be the first one? Since the committee lacked, this is the reason. Okay, whenever we use since, it gives an explanation, it gives reason. Okay, so since the committee lacked needed power, what did the committee lack? The committee lacked the needed power, the power that was needed. Okay, it could not deliver expected results. Since it lacked it, it did not deliver expected result. So yes, first one would be the right answer. So we are done with this type of question. This was, I think, fairly easy. You just have to be, you do not need to know the structure and if conditions. If you are okay with your spoken communication, you just have to read it. If it sounds good, it's good. Okay, otherwise if you are grammatically very strong, of course it will help you out. There is no need to say that, but just stating the obvious. Alright, moving on to the next question. Which of the following phrases 1, 2, 3 and 4 given below each sentence should replace the phrase printed in bold to make the sentence grammatically correct? If the sentence is correct as it is, mark 5 as the answer. Alright, so the words in bold, you have to replace it if it is not grammatically right. When the boy regains consciousness, he wanted to eat something. When the boy regains consciousness, we are talking about here when we say when the boy regains consciousness, that means we are planning for the future. So when he regains consciousness, he wanted, and then here we are dealing with the past. He wanted to eat something. It should be when the boy regained consciousness. Yes, past tense. He wanted to eat something. Moving on to the next one. This one was easy. The social worker wanted to bring about little changes in the lives of people of that village. Is it absolutely fine? Is there error? To bring about change. Yes, collocation, you are right. What does this collocation mean? The worker wanted to bring about little changes. Bring about is a collocation, which means he wanted to inculcate few changes. Raghunath proposes to lay claim for the insurance company as soon as he recovers from the accident. Yes, Sony, you are right. Plethora and myriad both means countless. Plethora is abundance. Myriad is countless. Okay, so you can use myriad for stars. You can use myriad for conversation. You can use myriad for anything that is... Alright, to own something. Okay, that is the meaning of to lay claim to. Okay, not to lay claim for or on, to lay claim to something. Okay, so the answer should be lay claim to the insurance company as soon as he recovers from the accident. No, it will be lay claim to, not lay claim on. Okay, this idiom, I know the answer must have been given that it should be lay claim on, but it should be lay claim to, because lay claim to means to show that or to assert that you have power over something, or you have control over something, or you have right over something, you have claim over something. Okay, all right, moving on to the next question then. The new concession announced by the government will have only a marginalized effect on the lives of... The new concession announced by the government will have only a marginalized effect on the lives of the people. Or should it be marginal effect of? Effect on, definitely it should be effect on. Now, which one is right? Is the one that is used is right, or we should use margin of effect on? Margin of effect on. Margin of effect on, we are not talking in economic terms, we are talking about a little effect. Okay, so it should be margin of effect. Okay, so that means it should be margin of effect. Okay, on. Next one. The charitable hospital works under the auspices from welfare trust of an industry. Which one will be the right answer for this one? Okay, first we need to understand what does auspice means. What does auspice means? Auspices or auspice. Okay, auspice is the singular form. What does auspice means? It means a divine token. Or support someone or something, especially an organization, or of an industry. Or which preposition are we using? By the auspice from. Okay, the charitable hospital works, what do we use? Works under, right? Under the protection of. That's what we are trying for and not to. Alright, so we are done with that type of question. Again, not very difficult kind of questions, very easy, very simple kind of questions. So we are going to deal with the third type. Okay, the third type is you have to fill in the blanks. You've done this many times, so let's go. So the first one is, our executive made bold but dash figure in his mind that he hoped would dash to the customer's vanity and wallet. Alright, so first you have to figure out what does it mean. Alright, so bold but dash. Okay, so we have to search for something contradictory or opposite to bold. Okay, not opposite necessarily bold, yet something we are saying, right? So anything which is not bold and audacious or something like that. So something of that sort. First of all, what is the meaning of vanity? Vanity is pride. Okay, here we are dealing with vanity and wallet. So let's take it pride. Can be self-love as well, anything is fine. Our executive made bold, but will it be realistic? It can be realistic. Lower figure. Okay, if it is bold, then it should be something higher, not lower, if we go by common sense. Bold but great figure. Alright, okay, let's just keep it. Soft, bold but soft, okay. Higher, no. Higher figure, no, we do not use higher figure, okay. So we are left with realistic, great, soft in his mind, and that he hoped would dash to the customer's vanity and wallet. So basically help, or something that will match, or something that will appeal. Okay, appeal to the customer's vanity and wallet. Okay, so something that will appeal, not suit, not match. It will be realistic and appeal. Okay, so he made some bold yet realistic figures in his mind, and whatever he came up with would be not a pinch in the customer's pocket, and it will not be probably a hurt on their pride. Okay, so soft figure, yes, again soft figure you do not use. Yeah, so let's just cancel that. Great figure again is not used. Okay, so realistic figures, we talk about figures in realistic or non-realistic. Okay, so it should be option 1. Alright, moving on to the next question. As businesses pull down dash barriers. Okay, so we are talking about some kind of barriers and dash boundaries, integration and standardization of work systems will become even more important. Yes, you are absolutely right. It should. No, you're not right. I'm sorry. Wait. Okay, what we are looking at here as business pull down dash barriers. So what kind of barriers are we talking about? Are we talking about competition barriers? Are we talking about strong barriers, physical barriers, international barriers, tax barriers, and dash boundary? Okay, so if you just go by the second blank, you don't even have to look at the first one. Okay, moving on to the next question. The dash of all good companies dash faster to employ needs, and in some cases actually know most people by name. Okay, the dash of all good companies. So the dash, we are talking about someone from the company. Okay, so who are we talking about? Are we referring to an employees? Okay, here it will not be employees because the next word is employee, faster to employees. So employees don't do anything to employees. We are talking about someone higher than employees. Okay, officers, it can be, yes, okay. Employers again can be. Leaders definitely can be. Investors cannot be. Okay, because investors do not know the name of even good investors do not know the name of the employees. Anyways, so the dash of all good companies dash faster to employees need. Okay, someone who we are talking about, someone who listens to employees need fast, or considers employees needs fast, or responds. Okay, response, not react, not consider, respond. Okay, so we are talking about leaders. The leaders of all good companies respond faster to employee need, and in some cases actually know most people by name. Alright, okay. Now we will move on to the next question. The year also saw the boom and doom of many .coms dash the relentless advance of the internet dash. Okay, so relentless advance of the internet. So the internet was still trying. Okay, so even if we saw the boom and doom of many .coms. Okay, So this year saw the boom and doom of many dot-coms, dashed the relentless advance of the internet dash. So what should there be, and all these are transition words, so which transition word will we use? Not all of it, some of it. Provided the relentless effort, definitely not. Putting the relentless advances of the internet halt, no. Despite the relentless advance of the internet slow down is not the right word. Now advances of the internet boomed, whereas the relentless advance of the internet, no, it is contradictory. So the only option that we are left with is 1. Yes, despite and although it's confusing, but if you look at the second half of this question, it says slow down. Advances of the internet slowed down. If it was used, it would have still made sense, but it is slowed down, so that is definitely not the answer. So first one should be the answer. Although the relentless advances of the internet continued. Okay, so that's why I'm saying slowed down. If it was used in that way, then it would have been appropriate for this blank, but no, it wasn't used in that way. It was used in the simple form, the present form. Okay, all right, moving on to the next one. The cooperative model has dash well in the dairy business in India, dash it perhaps the most organized among all food business in the country. The cooperative model has dash well. Okay, so has evolved well, worked well, proved well, traded well, signified well. So signified well, definitely not. Traded well, definitely not. We are talking about has a model which has cooperative model. This model has, generally when we are talking about a model and an industry or a business, so it works well, right? So anything that we are dealing with a complement like that, models usually work well. Okay, so worked well in the dairy business in India, making it perhaps the most organized among all food business in the country. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, not moving on to the next question. Before that, now we will be dealing with reading comprehension. I'll show you the passage. You just have to go through it. It's a very simple passage, very easy passage, just facts, not much to do. So go through it, skim through it, and then we will discuss the questions after that. Okay, now let's get back to the reading comprehension. So I'll show you the passage, skim through the passage, then we'll discuss the questions. Okay, quickly, not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes of time, and you just have to brush through it, and then we'll discuss the questions. Okay, here's the passage. Okay, so the Indian economy rests on agriculture base, and for decades and generations the picture that India presented to the world was not of famine and of an unchanging peasantry reluctant to depart from the cultural practices handed down to them by their forefathers. In agriculture, it was said, was a gamble on the rains. Some visionaries and civil servants had sought to change all this. Their experiments at rural transformation were watched with amused interest, and if their effort did not meet there's something wrong over there. Did not meet more than temporary and isolated success, it was because they were operating individually and in very limited areas within what was basically an inhospitable and unresponsive administrative environment. The scale of the effort was enlarged during the Second World War with the launching of the Grow More Food campaign, but the administrative structure remained largely unaltered. That means largely no cost to himself. If the farmer tilled the land, in the same manner as his father did before. It was because tradition had not optimized risk and the farmer had no margin on the basis of which to gamble on strange new practices and risk not merely a financial loss but his very survival. Secondly, there was no one agency to whom the farmer could turn for assistance or advice. If he wanted better seeds, he had to go to the agriculture department. For irrigation, he had to knock at the door of the irrigation department. Roads were the responsibility of the PWD. Land problems had to be taken up with revenue authorities and so on. In short, the administration was totally fragmented at the point which touched the life of the farmer. Coordination was difficult and the totality of the farmer's problem could never be adequately comprehended, let alone ameliorated. What is the meaning of ameliorated? It means making something better, okay, or making a situation better by the administration. Thirdly, even if the administration sought to promote rural transformation and the farmers were willing, having to go to several departments to get anything done, the farmer could now deal with a single community development authority with which all the executive agency involved in the rural development were associated. The many thousand of field demonstration laid out under the community development program demonstrated the possibility of change in a manner that carried conviction and at no risk to the peasant. Once the farmer was persuaded, as in was convinced, his alleged age-old conservatism vanished, and the next problem was to satisfy his ever-growing demands. Meanwhile, the establishment of National Extension Service for the first time created a permanent transmission system for the propagation and demonstration of new ideas and methods okay, twice, not just in isolated pockets but all over every wide area, over very, very wide areas. All right, what should we replace merely with? Merely simply, or simply. What were the problems that the farmers and the peasants had to face? So there are three things listed, and after that the solution. The solution is also listed. What happened, what changed, and how did it transformed everything, and how did they establish a well-developed centers for the farmers, and how so on and so forth. Okay, so it's a very simple, well-structured passage. Now let's go to the question and see what the questions are. All right, so the first question: for the people in the world, the image of Indian villager, the life of the farmer is it of an opponent of traditionalism and conservatism? Opponent means rival. Is it rival of traditionalism? First line talks about it. The experiments undertaken by some visionaries were aimed at, what were they aiming at? Were they aiming at changes in the administrative environment? Were they aiming at temporary and isolated success? Were they aiming at evolution of new operational strategies? Or were they aiming at uplifting of peasants and rural development? Yes, they were aiming at this, definitely. We learned that these visionaries wanted to help the peasants, and because of, was it limited because of their limited field of operation as in adverse environment? Yes, this is what was said in the very first paragraph. It said their experiments of the rural use interest will isolated success, temporary and isolated success. All right. Which of the following was the objective of launching community development programs? So community development program, what was the objective of it? We do learn about community development program, right? Okay, so was it to eradicate illiteracy of rural folks? Was it to switch over to merchandisation? mechanization in agro sector, or was it to solve the diverse problem of farmers on a single platform? That's what it was for. The focus was on farmers and how to make sure that all the farmers come together and all their problems are solved at once, not limiting it to a certain region or area. What was the probable disadvantage of the fragmented administration to the farmers? Was it what were the disadvantages that the farmers face because of the fragmented administration? Probable disadvantages. Okay, so we are just predicting: loss of time, money and energy, exposure of latest technique and strategies, available of manures, fertilizers and seeds, uncertainty of rain during the crop season. None of this is to deal with fragmented administration. Because of the administration, they could just not get the benefit of the program. That's all that was there. Okay, of these visionaries, they came up with the administration, they came up with the program, and since it could not reach everyone at once, it was limited to a certain region wherever they were working. That's why it did not work out for them. So none of the above would be the right answer. Okay. All right, moving on to the next one. If the administration and also the farmers were willing to promote rural transformation, which was the main hindering factor in their way? Which was the most hindering factor? I think we are dealing with the same question in different angles, different ways. Comprehension of the farmers' problem? No, that wasn't the problem. That this farmer could not comprehend. If the administration and also the farmers were willing to promote rural transformation, they were all willing to promote. What were the barriers? So not comprehension of the farmers' problem. Lack of coordination among different agencies. No, the agency were doing fine. I mean, that was not the major problem. Lack of availabilities of facilities for cultivation. Cultivation did not even come into the picture. Want of irrigation facility, definitely not. So again, none of these would be the answer. Okay. Next two, the last two. The apparent plus point of the community development program demonstration was that, what was the evident changes or the plus point of the community development program? They were free from any cost or risk to the farmers. They were not against the farm. Yeah, they were free from any cost or risk to the farmers. Okay, that would be the answer. What was the impact of these demonstrations on the farmers? These demonstrations, because of these demonstrations, what was the impact on the farmer? Their unreasonable demands increased disproportionately? No. Their tendency to cling to past tradition vanished. Yes, this is what we spoke about in the later paragraphs. They spoke about this being a problem, that the farmers were clinging on to their traditional ways of farming and they did not want to change, and that disappeared once the demonstration was done. National extension. Okay, so that is it. No, that's not it. Okay, now the last two questions, you'll have to solve it. Okay, which of the following was or were the advantages of the community problems development program? Which of the followings were the advantages, was or were the advantages of the community development program? Diverse problems of the farmers could be solved by a single authority. Yes. One, definitely. Oh, I told you you'll solve it, but I'm solving it anyways. These programs didn't involve, so remember that in this question it says that you're supposed to it can be either one advantage or two advantages, so do not just stop once you get one answer. All right, look for the other one. These programs didn't involve any risk to farmers. Yes, they did not involve any. In the previous question also. So basically, if you see, almost every question over here has to deal with, I mean, it's circumlocuting around the same issue. Okay, so there's just the passage is this much, but the actual content, the thing that you have to remember is just this much. Okay, so very little information. Okay, so this one is pretty easy, I think. There was no danger of deviating from the past practices. They wanted them to deviate from the past practices. Okay, so it will be 1 and 2. So 2 is the right answer. Next one. If the community development programs were not launched, which of the following would have happened if it was not launched? Okay, so let's assume it was not launched. Single authority, yes, it is clearly mentioned, Sony, when it says that community development program came up with, so community development program is the single authority that we are talking about. Okay, if the community development program were not launched, which of the following would have happened? The farmers' inclination to cling to the past practices would have altered. They wouldn't have altered. That's what the whole agenda was. They could have obtained help to solve their various problems under one roof. They couldn't have done that because the problems were happening or continuing for far too long. They would have resorted to latest techniques and strategies of farming. That was the biggest problem. That's what they did not want to do. They were clinging on to whatever they knew, whatever has been passed on from generation to generation. So there was no way they would have resorted to latest techniques. So yeah. So none of these would be the answer. Alright, pretty simple passage, not much to do, you just have to get the central idea of the passage, and the central idea of the passage is pretty simple. Now we will be moving on to error spotting. We haven't solved error spotting question and we do it every time, so we are going to solve it. Not we, again you are going to solve the error spotting questions and I'm just going to say if that it is the right answer or not. Like I said, because we have solved enough error spotting questions, but if there is any explanation needed, I will give the explanation. I have been traveling by local trains since last several years, but have never experienced such a horrible situation as this. This one is simple again. You can clearly make out what is the error. But have never experienced. It should be, the error is in the second half of the statement, since and for. We have discussed this for so many times. Several years is duration. So definitely when we talk about duration, we do not use since, we use for. So the error is in the second one. And have never experienced, no, it should be had never experienced. It is fine, that is fine. So what the person is trying to say is, before this experience, I have never experienced any, I had never experienced anything of this sort. Okay, so if we are talking about this experience, then it should be have, but we are referring to previous experiences in the past, long back. So it should be had, it's fine. Okay. Okay, next one. I found this ring as I dig in the garden. It looks very old. I wonder who it belonged to. This one is also pretty simple. Yes, it should be, instead of dig, it should be dug. Alright. Found the ring is the keyword. So error is over here too. Okay. Who, it will be who and not whom, because it is referring to it in the subjective form. Who is the statement talking about? It's talking about who, right? So the focus, it's still in the subjective form, it's not in the objective form. We use whom in the objective form, okay? Next one. India today stands at a crucial crossroad with its history as an independent nation. Is there an error? And if there is, where is the error? No error. Yes, correct. No error. Absolutely fine. And we are using its because we are talking about India and its history. Okay, so it's showing possession, so possessive pronoun. By April next year, I will have been working in this company for 20 years. Where is the error and what is the error? for a period, yes, for plus period of time, yes. So yes, for 20 years. So that is fine. Although this is Old English, it is no longer used, but it's still absolutely fine. All right, grammatically correct. This is future perfect continuous. Last one. He was having a bath when the phone rang. Very unwillingly, he got out of the bath and went to answer it. Where is the error and what is the error? Yeah, the whole sentence is wrong, but there is a part of it because of which the whole sentence is wrong. So which part is that, Sony? Yes, this is phone rang, not range. That is correct, but let's overlook that for now because I'm sure that is not the error. Might be some error from our side, but that's not the error. Yes, very unwillingly got out of the bath. You do not get out of a bath. Alright, so the error is in the third. Yeah, too many things that are not required. The sentence is absolutely wrong, but just in different ways. So you have to find out, you have to make sure that which one is the most prominent error to solve the question, okay? So yeah, this brings us to the end of the session. That is it from my end, and so next Saturday again, same time, 9 o'clock, I will be taking the session, and we will have doubt clarification as well next Saturday. So I will meet you then. You guys have a good weekend, and whoever is present apart from Priyanka, you too Priyanka, you have a good weekend as well, and I will see you next class then. Till then, bye bye. Take care, guys.